This is episode 80 of the Cafe Racer podcast for September 20th, 2015. I'm Steven.
And I'm Crash. All right. How's it going?
I was afraid to talk. I didn't want to say anything.
I know.
That
intro actually went well.
No, it was really good. The only thing I didn't do was turn the recorder on, but I turned it on midway through the intro music, which is fine. That's okay. We still have other ways of recording. No, everything's going good. I went for a ride this morning.
Good.
In the 10A. Went to Club Shell, rode around a little bit, got the bike all warmed up, and then came home.
So starter's still working good then?
Well, a little glitch this morning, but it seemed to kick over okay. I'm still going to pull the tank off of it and check those bullet connections, but I found out something really funny today from the previous owner. So I don't know. I've kind of talked about this. I bought the bike from this guy that I know, and then he ended up buying another 10A. We found just on a fluke one in St. Petersburg. So we were talking about the issues with the bikes and stuff, and he goes, that only happened to me a couple times. And one day I got so mad, I reached down and grabbed the wiring harness underneath the steering head and yanked really hard, and it never did that again. I'm like, well, you just probably pull all the bullet connectors out. So I'm going to pull the tank off when it gets a little cooler and just check everything under there and make sure everything's good. But other than that, it worked fine today. It was nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
I rode last weekend. So you and I talked about, I think we talk about what we use for listening to music and hearing protection and whatnot in our helmets pretty regularly.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Well, I ordered a pair of Westone in-ear monitors for Jess, and they came in last weekend. And so we went on a really short ride up like along onto Coronado Island and then back because of where I live is really close. So we just went up around the island and came back. And she really likes them a lot. She uses so far. She's using a different kind of ear tip than from the one I use. Like, different people like different stuff, and I can't stand the little foam earplug ones, but a lot of people swear by them. And she has a different. They come with a different kind of ear tip than they used to, and they're more similar to like a regular earbud, kind of. And so she tried some of those and was really happy with them. She's going to try other ones to see if they're better. But we took a ride, that day, and then I tried to ride as much to work the next week as possible. And then this weird thing happened. It almost never happens here in San Diego, but it rained a lot. And I mean, not just like a little shower. Like it started one night just coming down. Like, I mean, not quite Florida thunderstorm level, but pouring, like legitimately pouring rain. And like into the morning. So I drove the truck that day. When I came back, I was looking at the bike and I noticed I had some rust on my fork legs. Not in any of the area where the suspension actually moves, but like up by the triple tree. So that made me unhappy. And then yesterday I took some quadruple-aught steel wool and scrubbed them down, cleaned off all the corrosion, and then I sprayed them with a corrosion blocker. So hopefully that'll.
You think that's from the rain?
It's from the fact that I live right by the beach and my bike sits outside and I wasn't paying attention enough. And then it got rained on. And that didn't help. The rain, I'm sure, didn't help. I mean, my front rotor, my brake rotor is all rusty too.
There's something we're going to look at. I didn't realize now you were keeping the bike outside, but you remember I talked about this bag that I had seen at AIM. It's not one of these pull-up type garages. Actually, this might have been at IMS. It was one of the two shows. But you know the garage I'm talking about, where you kind of drive over it, and it's like an accordion thing, and you pull it up over the bike.
Yeah, it's like a shell kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, this thing was more like a bag. In other words, you can ride into the thing when it's hot. So you unzip it. It's laying on the ground.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, and it's got protective material on the inside of it that's coated with like anti-rust and anti-corrosion, and it's designed. And I'm like, can you ride the bike in there when it's hot? They're like, yeah, no problem, won't hurt anything. Which I thought was kind of weird because this is going to build up a bunch of heat in the inside. But even if you let it cool down for an hour or so and then zipped up this bag, I think that'd be a great product for people that live near the beach, because we have the same problem here. Any homes that are by the ocean, the cars are a mess, the windows are a mess.
Yeah, and yeah, the bike lives outside now, which makes me a little sad. But
well, I would also try
Only
that
a
product that I've been using too. That from the company. I'll have to get the name here in a minute. Before the guys on Cleveland Motor are always pitching it.
ACF 50
Yeah, but there's another one of their products that they have, not the ACF 50
corrosion blocker.
Corrosion
I think is what
blocker.
it's called.
Yeah, corrosion blocker
Yeah.
works phenomenal, and it's
Yeah,
kind of thick, you know.
Yeah, I didn't. They say it tastes great on Cleveland Moto too.
I wouldn't doubt that. I'm sure those
They
guys.
said that it tastes way better than Blue Loctite.
They probably spray it on their charcuterie.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. But yeah, they talk about corrosion blocker a lot, and I didn't look very hard. I was just at Home Depot the other day.
The only place I've
Actually,
been able to find
yesterday.
that is marine stores, believe it or not.
Oh yeah.
As a matter of fact, when you look on Lear Chemicals website and look for dealers down here, it's only like aircraft parts and marine stores that carry corrosion blocker. Yeah.
We've got a lot of anti-corrosion products that we use at work because, you know, I mean, anybody who's new to the show, I'm in aviation, naval aviation specifically. And yeah, we have a lot of anti-corrosion products. And I thought about just grabbing a can one day while the bike was at work and busting off the rust and then spraying it down. But I wanted to get it done sooner than that because I don't know, you know, I did it yesterday. And we were just at Home Depot. I saw like in the little like lubricants section, I saw like a corrosion busting or, you know, an anti-corrosion like from the same people that make the PB Blaster,
right?
Penetrating oil, like that same company has an anti-corrosion spray. And I just sprayed it on a paper towel and then wiped down the areas where I was getting some rust.
Yeah, speaking of rain, it's been raining here torrentially every day to the point where my yard's like completely flooded in the back. And we were supposed to have a birthday party here yesterday for one of my granddaughters, and we ended up having to move it to my son's house just because it's been so bad here. The mosquitoes are bad. And to top it all off, my wife calls me the other day at work and goes, there's an alligator in the backyard. I'm like, what? Like, yeah, there's a 3-foot alligator swimming around in the back. And there's we're bordered by houses all around our back. I have like 1.25 acres, but all around the back are houses, and he must have came over from somebody's pond or so. Yeah, I got that going for me right now. Yeah, I got a little alligator swimming around.
Nice.
Yeah.
It was flooded enough when it was raining the other day that the whole base, not the whole base, but the gates in and out of the base had flooded. So
wow, that's a lot.
They closed. Well, you got to figure, like, it's San Diego. They didn't really build it to drain all that well because we don't have a big rain problem. But we did get flash floods on the base. Like there was a car that got stuck, and it was actually like had to be pulled out by you know, another vehicle. I think they used a forklift. Like they hooked a tow strap up to a forklift and drug it out of the water. But yeah, it was pretty gnarly for San Diego anyway.
Yeah, I've never heard of it. At least you've never talked about it raining that bad there. It's pretty normal in Florida, really.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like
it's
every
just
couple of days or days.
It gets hot and then it's humid. That's why I rode earlier.
It's been unseasonably humid here. It's better today. It's been good for the past couple.
Hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been really hot and really humid, which makes not having AC really suck.
So let's talk about what I got in my hand here. I got 6 tickets to the AIM Expo. We ran a little contest. These were courtesy of our friend Kevin Nixon at the AIM Expo, which big news is that the AIM Expo was purchased by the Motorcycle Industry Council. So that will be the premier show now, which is really cool because the original owners were just like a trade show company. And they've been bringing on all these people from other places. Kevin came from Twisted Throttle, and he's a great guy, and we've known him for a long time. And he sent me some tickets to give away, and we ran a little contest, a little random number contest, and the winning number was 859. So here's our 3 closest winners: Donna Farmer, Donnie Moore, and Mario Menza. So I'm going to be
congratulations, guys.
Congratulations. Yeah, you each win 2 tickets to the AIM Expo. I'm pretty sure that all 3 of them are Florida people, but for everybody else who entered, thanks for playing along. We appreciate it. We appreciate you guys listening as always, and hopefully we'll be able to do more of these giveaways. But so anyway, I'll be sending out tickets. If you guys don't hear me doing this, I'll email you and send me your address and I'll mail out your tickets. But thanks a lot. That was really cool. Thanks to AIM Expo and Kevin Nixon for comping us these tickets. You guys will really enjoy it. We did have some people send in some goofy emails to me too that weren't going to be able to make it, but just some funny stuff. And one of them was John Jones, as usual. And John and I got talking, and I didn't know this, but John bought a Modus.
Yeah.
He's going to be picking it up hopefully right before AIM, and he may swing by to see us at AIM Expo. I think he's going to do a maiden voyage to knock out all the bugs and get the first service under his belt. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's a bike that I've always been really interested in. I sat on one at Barber a couple of years ago. I went to their pre-party at the factory. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really cool. So I'm stoked for him. That's a neat bike. Another American-made motorcycle. You know, not necessarily something that the masses are going to buy because of it's definitely a premium product, but I'm happy for John. Yeah. I look forward to it.
I'm actually I've got a couple of emails too that you mentioned emails and I keep forgetting about them. Where is it? All right. Let's see. So one of them's from a guy named Chris Shockley. He's actually a Washington listener. He lives in the Tacoma area. And I remember I'd like to thank him again for offering the opportunity to ride one of his motorcycles when I was up in Washington last time. I wasn't able to get up there to take him up on the offer, but it was a very generous offer. So he mentioned he sent an email mentioning Peter Egan. Mm-hmm. Do you know the name?
Mm-hmm. Sure. I have his book.
Yeah. So
his books.
Yeah. So for those of you out there who don't, he was a columnist in Cycle World magazine for a bunch of years. Lives in Wisconsin, and it's kind of cool whenever he writes talking about Wisconsin because my dad's from the same general area, and so he talks about some towns that I have driven through. But a really good author, like columnist, and he wrote 2 books, or they compiled his columns into 2 books called Leanings and Leanings 2, because his column was called Leanings. Anyway, so I guess Chris is reading through the second one, and he said he came across a column in 1998 that made him think of the feel that we seem to bring out, especially when discussing the gentleman's ride, that being one of inclusion rather than exclusion. I definitely have taken a lot of inspiration from Peter and his writing, and sort of like my mentality about motorcycles is really similar to what he seems to feel about, like, it doesn't really matter what you ride, just, be nice to each other.
Yeah, we poke a lot of fun, but none of it's really serious. I never really felt like I've belonged in one particular group as opposed to another, and I make a point, like when I'm hanging out at places, and if there's guys with cruisers that, I don't know, maybe they feel weird and they like park on the other side of the road, we go over and chat with them and talk about their bikes and everything. There was a guy this morning at Club Shell that had a really cool victory that I was over talking to him, and turned out the guy was a salesman to a local Yamaha dealer, real knowledgeable and real interesting. So yeah. Same way, really. It doesn't matter.
A buddy of mine just bought a new Victory. It's the Gunner, the Victory Gunner.
Jackie, when I was in Daytona, Jackie Van Ham was riding one around, and that's a cool bike. I really like that.
It is. Yeah. I mean, I don't really see myself purchasing a cruiser. But that one is really beautiful. Like it looks really good.
For me, it's if I bought a cruiser, it would be in that power cruiser family, and it would be definitely something that had mid controls. The problem, it's not
you want a Diavel,
huh?
I said you want a Diavel.
Yeah, that's not really a cruiser though. I mean, I don't know. That fits in that weird category of I don't know what. It's not.
Yeah, it's not. It's not really anything.
They call it a power cruiser. It's like the Rocket and a lot of these other bikes and the VMAX. They're not really. They fit somewhere in the middle of cruiser and standard and I don't know what, but you know, some of the like the Sportsters I like, and Harley had a one of the Dyna series that had mid controls. I don't know the Harley series really well, but I always like the bikes with mid controls. To me, it's just easier for me to ride. That foot forward feeling when we had a Yamaha 1600. I can't remember what the thing's called now, but it was painful for me to sit in that position with my feet out front riding that bike. I didn't like it. So it's, you know,
yeah,
Go ahead.
Oh, okay, fine. Please, after you, sir. Anyway, I test rode, I think it was a Fat Bob, a Harley Fat Bob that had forward controls, and it just felt weird. Like, I mean, I'm not saying it's wrong. I mean, people love it. Like, there's tons of guys that love that. I'm just so used to mids or rear set controls that it just felt really strange to me. I guess I'd probably get used to it if I rode it every day, but I felt like I needed my butt to be just a little closer so that my knees were bent a little more. And I'm 6 feet tall, so that's sort of an odd feeling to have, like things are too far away.
Yeah, the funny thing is, like when I was a kid and kind of squiddly, you know how everyone nowadays is putting out like highway pegs, right? So they can get their feet even farther forward and like in a relaxed Barco lounger kind of position. And I can remember when I had the CB 1100F, I wanted my feet farther behind me. So like rear sets weren't even enough. Like when I was riding the bike, I would like put my feet on the passenger pegs.
I do that on the Bonneville.
Yeah, like the complete opposite of highway pegs.
Honestly, anything to get your feet in, especially if you're going to be on the bike for a little while, anything to get your feet in a different position, to get the blood flowing differently, you know, to get the pressure off different parts of your body is worth doing. I mean, I've got I've ridden with,
you know,
what's that?
I stand a lot.
Yeah, me too. On the Bonneville, I'll put my feet, like I'll set my feet on the cases, like on the side cases sometimes, just to get them in a slightly different position. Or my old Honda, I had a Honda Nighthawk. I would set my feet on the turn signals. Like I'd put one foot up on one of the turn signals, like all the way up on the. No, they were sturdy little metal things. Like they weren't going.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently in Florida, if you stand on while you're riding though, that's like stunting, and that can get you over $1,000 ticket.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Speaking of turn signals, the front turn signals on my Bonneville are both out, and one of them is definitely a busted bulb. The other one went out, and I thought the bulb might be burning out, or might have burnt out. They don't really start burning out. It's a freaking bulb. They stop working altogether. So I thought that had happened, and then the other day it came back on, and then it went back out. So I'm not sure what's going on there. I might have some corrosion inside that turn signal. The aftermarket turn signals I've been using, I noticed this in the past, that they get water inside because of the way that they're, you know, the way the wires come out. They're not really weatherproofed at all. And so water gets inside the turn signals and will, you know, corrode the contacts and all that sort of fun stuff. And I've replaced the turn signals, all the turn signals all the way around at least once. So I might do that with a different type of turn signal this time.
You gonna go for an LED, you think?
Probably. If I replace all the turn signals, I will. Yeah. It sucks because there's one particular Rizoma LED turn signal that I've had my eye on for a long time, but I don't really want to spend $300 on turn signals for the bike because they're like, I want to say they're like $80 a piece or something.
Rizoma's really, really expensive, but it's high quality. I think if I go that route, it's just going to be, the 1157 turn signal LED module, like maybe the Chinese ones. And
right. My
recommendations.
signals are too small to
Too
fit
small
that.
for those. Yeah. We got a bunch of recommendations from people the last time we talked about LEDs that were very reliable Chinese versions that I'm going to give a shot to and see what it works. My cool. Next thing, and I'm not really sure what direction I'm going to go into, is driving lights for the Stelvio. So, the Gila lights that come on there are really poor design. They're crap. It's well known. They rub the wires on the inside to the point where they short. I've tried putting wire coverings on them. It's not working, and they're just crappy bulbs too. So, Clearwater makes a great product, but I just can't see myself spending close to $600 for a pair of driving lights when there's other options out there, even American-made options that are less than that. So I don't know if it's going to be a Chinese thing on there or what. Everyone's like, oh yeah, the Chinese ones are cheap enough that after a couple of years, if they break, you only had $30 invested. But I kind of want something a little bit better. We'll see.
Yeah, I actually thought I ordered a set of we talked about, you mentioned Twisted Throttle when talking about Kevin. They had a Labor Day sale, and all the SW Motec stuff was on sale. So I pulled the trigger and ordered some crash bars for the Bonneville, because I'm sort of gradually working towards that TT100 look that they came up with. The dual LED headlights and sort of all that.
Such a cool look. You know how much I love scramblers, and that thing is like the epitome of it.
Yeah, I'm kind of slowly working my way that way. I'm just not sure. I ordered them; they were back ordered, but I didn't care because I was like, I just want to get them for this, for the price. I don't need them in a hurry. But I got notification they shipped the other day, so they should be here this week. But they mount up right where my ignition relocator mounts up, and I'm not sure how that's going to work. I might have to cut
the relocator.
Yeah, I'm either going to have to relocate the relocator or cut the bottom bolt hole off of it, because they mount where a subframe, like where the subframe joins together. Well, the crash bars mount with one bolt up there, and the rest of where the other bolt is covered by the crash bar. So
anyway, you can mount it to the crash bar.
I don't know. We're gonna
tab welded in place to mount it to there to keep it in that same location or not.
I might just. What I was thinking is if I cut the bottom bolt hole off and then use the crash bar bolt in the relocator's other bolt hole, that it'll all mount right, like stacked up on top of each other right there. And if not, Twisted Throttle makes a new one that is compatible with their crash bars.
So let's talk about something else from Twisted Throttle, because I got something.
Me too, actually. And mine's really quick. I got grip pads for my tank, so I can grip the tank with my knees better.
Are they cut specifically for the Bonneville?
Yeah, they're the tech spec gripsters. If anybody listens to the Motorific podcast, Joanne Don talks about them a lot. She loves them, and I like them better. I like their look and feel better than the Triumph Bonneville, like Triumph accessory grip pads. So I've got that new tank that I'm going to paint. And once I paint it, I'm going to put the grip pads on it and put it on the bike.
Okay, that sounds cool. I wish I've been thinking about putting those on the Le Mans, but I'm freaked out about putting anything on the paint on that thing. So what I got here,
I'll let you know how they feel.
Okay. Magna is a brand that comes, I think they're Dutch, and Twisted Throttle is the sole U.S. distributor for Magna. They make a really great product, but what I have here is the Chili, which is their lightweight ventilated summer jacket that they were actually blowing these things out for $99 or normally $199, so 50% off. And this is a really cool jacket. It's kind of minimalist, but when you start looking at all the features it has, it's really neat. And you can go online, but I'm just going to go over a couple cool things. One of the neatest things about this jacket is you'll notice that there's a zipper. And for people that are listening to this and don't see it, around the collar, there's a zipper, and then there's also zippers around the insides of the sleeves that are kind of hidden in here. And this thing's designed to have their alert rain jacket zip over the top of it. So instead of having to take it off and put your rain liner on the inside, it's got a jacket that zips over the top. And they also make a vest.
I like that.
It's really neat. They make a vest too that kind of clips into these little spots here on the bottom, then goes over the shoulders, a reflective vest, and comes in the back and zips down here in the back. But these things have a lot of features. Like this is Velcro right here. It's designed for a little red light, like a little stoplight. They've got a hanger built in here where you can hang the jacket. And their mesh is kind of neat too, because they call it 3D mesh. What's neat about it is here's the mesh here, but there's also a liner on the inside that's giving you another layer of protection on the mesh. Really nice jacket. It's ventilated, super cool. It comes with, you know, the baseline CE armor in the shoulders and elbows, and then a foam pad in the back, which can be upgraded. But check it out. It's Macna Chili. I'll put a link in the show notes for it. Nice jacket, really comfortable. The only downside to this jacket, which might just be something that it bothers me, but in the arm adjusters here, you'll notice they have this pretty large plastic piece here that the Velcro threads into. So kind of when you bend your arm, this piece right here was hitting me in the elbow, and the crux of the elbow.
Right. Yeah.
But annoying.
I've got a similar issue on my my Revit pants. They have a similar like plastic thing where the adjuster belt attaches, and it's right on my hip bone. And so after a while, it feels like it's digging in.
The other thing too is they're definitely European cut, because I usually wear an XL, and that's a 3XL. So I would be careful. Check their sizing chart if you're going to buy. But I go online and see they were blowing out some of their 2015 model gloves and some other jackets, but that was a great value for that. And so far, I like it a lot. It's very slim cut. Like I said, it's minimalistic. There's no Velcro around the neck. It just has the collar. And it's nice lining in the collar, nice lining along the sleeves. Really well made. But Macna's a nice line. I'm going to check out some more of their gear, and hopefully we'll do some interviews with them when we're at AIM.
Yeah, it looks like a pretty nice jacket. I liked that it didn't have a lot of logo graphical stuff going on. You know, it's pretty understated.
Yeah, and they have their reflective material on the back and on the arms. We're gonna do. I'll show you guys when we get to AIM, but some of their products have reflective material completely all the way through the jacket, and it lights up like a street light when light hits it. The whole entire jacket does. So it's great for night riding. And I think that chili comes in two different colors, black and like a silver gray color. But
so when you say chili, do you mean like, is it spelled like CHILLY, or like the country, or like the dish?
Hold on.
Like the food, the country, or it's cold?
I think it's cold. Let me see if it's got it in. Let me see if it's got it in here anywhere.
If only I had some sort of device,
like a computer,
where I could like reach in a database of information.
Well, I'm searching on the jacket.
It's CHILI.
Yeah.
Like the pepper. Yep, Macna Chili, like the chili pepper.
There's a big logo in the back, but that's about it.
Yeah, but it's not like, it doesn't make you look like a Power Ranger.
No, and it says Vision Vest prepared here. That's where the Vision Vest zips in. I mean, so far I'm really happy with it. It's really nice. They make a nice product. The neck is really super comfortable. This lining in here.
That's really important.
Yeah, it's funny because I have an older field shear jacket. This thing's probably from 2001, but it was Field Shear had made a line that was half leather and half mesh. It's really kind of heavy for a mesh jacket. Joe Rocket makes kind of the similar thing, but the collar on that's really thick, and it's got a thick Velcro tab that always seems to get caught underneath my helmet strap when I'm putting the helmet on. Then I got to move it, and it's just super uncomfortable. So far, this jacket, it's been really comfortable. The ventilation in it's really, really nice. Even with the sleeves closed, there's a ton of mesh on it. I'm digging it. You know, I may get the matching pants that are not
Cool.
they're called something else. Still going to be finding type of all season stuff.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of in the market for a replacement for my Revit suit. You know, it was great up in the Pacific Northwest where I got rained on all the time. But I was talking to Joanne the other day, and she recommended a certain jacket and pants that are currently unavailable in my size. But I have, you know, I click the little notify me when they're available button. So, you know, when I get an email, if they're Revit too, that they're Revit Vapor jacket and Vapor pants. She was basically, her statement about them was that they'd be perfect 4-season gear for Southern California. You know, warm enough that I can ride up into the mountains when it's cold and not, you know, freeze to death. And that they're cut really well for somebody with my body type. I'm in large part just a large European guy, like small chest, thin throughout.
Large.
I'm just not. Yeah, I'm. Well, the funny thing is, you know, like I lived in Italy for 6 months, and over there, like I'd go to, like, if I went to buy a shirt, like I was an extra large, but like the cut fits right, you know, like it fit my body the way it's supposed to. I'm just way bigger than they, or not way bigger, but bigger than the average size person over there.
Granella?
I was in Naples.
Naples.
I was in Italy, not Sicily.
Yeah,
for those that like to make the distinction.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Jeez.
I got another email. Jeff Katzer. You ready for this? Or you want to finish
go for it.
Talking about your European body?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
So this, howdy, Steve. I've been listening to the show since way back when Crash was at Whidbey Island near my home in Everett, Washington. I just finished this ebook called Beyond the Coffee Shop, Riding 1970s Moto Guzzi Motorcycles in Northern Canada by Nick Adams. It was a fun little read, and I was thinking you'd find it entertaining. Lots of roadside repairs and red-green fixes. I'm not really a Guzzi guy, but I sure can appreciate the author's resourcefulness as I share his love lonely, untraveled roads. I just do it on a little Yamaha WR250R. Thanks for all the fun podcasts, Kat. I'll post a link to that. I'm going to pick up that book too. It sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. He also sent me another follow-up email. I'm going to make sure it's okay for me to post this, but he's got a video from his Washington backcountry discovery route, which is kind of
cool.
Yeah. So I'm like, well, I'm going to get back in touch with him and make sure it's okay that I put that video out there too. But definitely the book, I'm going to put a link out. That looks pretty neat. I like riding reading all that stuff, like Jupiter's Travels, and from there on, everything else.
So something I think I promised last time we did the show to talk about that I just remembered is I took one of the Lee Parks courses, the Total Control courses, about a week ago, 10 days ago. And you know, I had never taken any of the Total Control courses, so I was not at all familiar with his curriculum. I took the Intermediate Riding Clinic, which is, so for those of you listening that you know, are in the military, you're really familiar with the fact that we've got to do follow-on training and all that sort of stuff for motorcycles. And California doesn't have a contract with the Motorcycle Safety Foundation anymore, so all the courses have been switched over to Lee Parks curriculum. And I've taken all of the street courses that Motorcycle Safety Foundation offers at least once, some of them more than once. So, you know, I had a, you know, I kind of knew what they were about. And then the Lee Parks course, there were definitely some similarities because, I mean, a quick stop is a quick stop, and they might teach you a little bit differently how to do it, but generally, hey, we're going to practice stopping quickly. Then the exercise is going to be, you're going to ride and you're going to hit a marker and you're going to stop as quickly as you can after that marker, you know, without locking up the wheels. So that's, you know, that's the same exercise pretty much with either course. But something that I really liked about the Lee Parks course was that in comparison to the Motorcycle Safety Foundation courses, you know, the MSF, you sit in a classroom, they load you with all this classroom information, and then you go out and you spend 2 days on the range or a day and a half on the range, and you're just out on the range. Or in the case of some of their other courses, you really don't spend any time in the classroom at all. You're just out on the range talking about things and then doing exercises. The Intermediate Riding Clinic puts you in the class, or they do like a really quick sort of like entry exercise, which was like a pull up and to a stop and then take a 90-degree turn, like a very tight 90-degree turn, which made me embarrassed because I was kind of flustered because I was running late for the course. And so I showed up and they were like, "Hey man, you're late." But, you know, and I was, you know, I was kind of like tense. And then I kind of, fumbled my way through the entry exercise and felt like an idiot. But then you go right in the classroom. You're in the classroom for like an hour, maybe they do like 2 presentations about 2 specific topics. And then you go out and you practice those things on the course, and you come back, a couple more topics, go back out, practice. And you're in and out of the classroom, and it breaks it up really nicely. You're not sitting out in the heat on the bike the whole day, but you're also not sitting in the class getting like overloaded with information and then expected to go remember all of it out on the course.
So what did you think overall?
I liked it. It was a good course. The
skills to add to your skill set?
Yeah, they talk more about what was the difference? Man, this occurred to me while the course was going on. Well, first of all, if you've taken a Motorcycle Safety Foundation course, there is no box in the Lee Parks course. There's not this like rectangular box that you have to do a figure 8 inside. I think that method of teaching very low speed maneuvering, like getting counterweighting, you know, getting your hips and your butt to the outside of a turn at really low speed, that method never really did it for me. The way that Lee does it, and the instructors that teach his curriculum do it, is you actually have 2 circular sets of cones. And they kind of build you up to it. They start with just one big wide circle of little tiny cones that you can run right over and it's not going to hurt you. So they've got this wide circle of cones, and they have you ride in a circle around it at a distance far enough that you can see the whole circle at all times. So like in your peripheral vision, you can see the cones closest to you, and obviously you're going to see the ones farther away. They want you to be able to see the closest cones to you, and then you ride in a circle around the cones like twice, and then you exit the circle and come, and they talk to you about how well you did at maintaining a smooth arc and not riding in a straight line turning, at making like a 20-sided circle, or 20-sided shape, instead of smoothly coming around, and maintaining your distance from the circle, so you're not making this big oval where you're getting really close and then far away and then close and then far away. And then they take it up a notch. They take that same circle and they put a smaller circle inside of it, and to teach you because that method teaches you getting your not high speed, but road speed cornering. Then they take it and they put a small circle of cones in the center, and you have to drive within outside the inner circle, but inside the outer circle. Does that make sense? So you have to drive within that little donut that's created by the 2 circles. And that makes you have to get your hips off the bike, shift your butt to the outside of the seat, and then lean the bike over under you. And they want you, again, maintaining a distance that you can see all of the center circle at the same time. And so, you're forced to keep your eyes out away from the circle of cones so you don't fall down. It felt so much easier than trying to do the figure 8 box. Because with the figure 8 box, your brain is just focused on this boundary. Like, I can't go over that line. I can't go over that line. I can't go over that line. And there's nothing else out there in the distance really for you to look at, unless you think, oh, I'm just going to look at that car that's sitting over there and, do the box, which admittedly is what you should do. You should, look out, not look down. But the circles and the cones that Lee's curriculum uses, I really liked. You do the test exercise. Oh, that's the other thing. Sorry about the course. The Motorcycle Safety Foundation ends the course with a big test of everything that you learned. There's a written test and a practical test. Lee's course ends the course with a written practical test, but throughout the day, you're doing skills tests on individual exercises. So you're not having to work up to this test at the very end and then go like, okay, time for you to go do your road test, do your box, do your turn, do your quick stop, do your swerve. You do each of those immediately after practicing them.
Well,
so you go out.
It's still fresh, right?
Yeah. So with the Lee Parks course, they're like, all right, we're going to do quick stops. And you do go do 15 quick stops or however many quick stops. And then they pause and they're like, okay, now we're going to test you on it. They rebrief the exercise. They tell you how to do it again. And this whole time you've been getting coaching. And then they go, okay, cool, your turn, go. And they time you to make sure you do the right speed. And they see how long it takes you to stop to make sure you're within limits. And then you're good to go. And then you don't have to be worried about the end of the day doing this big test. And it's so much nicer. It takes so much pressure off. Because when I'm out there on the road, I'm not thinking about a test. I'm just riding. And it made it so much more like I'm just riding and I'm not worried about failing some test or riding over a boundary line or hitting a cone or whatever. I just, doing the exercises. And then the last time I do the exercise, they're going to grade me on it. And it was so much easier. Less pressure on your mind.
Did they try to sell you, or I don't want to put it that way, but did they try to talk about the advanced rider course too? And is that offered there in California?
So it is offered in California. The Navy doesn't pay for it. So this was free to me through the Navy. The Navy, let me rephrase that. The Navy does not require sailors to take it. The Marine Corps does. And there's a Marine Corps base not far from here that offers the course. And as long as my command is willing to let me take the time off, I can go take the course. And it doesn't cost me anything.
Wow. That's a great value.
It is. The advanced rider, they do talk about the advanced rider course. It's not in the curriculum to talk about it. Mm-hmm. It's just something at the end of the day, like, hey, here's other ways you can get training. And in fact, and they didn't just list Lee Parks stuff either. They didn't even just list California motorcycle safety stuff. They listed Gary LaPlante's dirt bike school that I took a year ago. They listed that, up in Anza, California, all sorts of stuff that isn't, sponsoring or paying any money to have their name in the curriculum. It's just like, hey, if you want other schools, here's California Superbike School. You could go there, all these other things. So it was very even-handed and didn't seem biased in any way. The test exercise for the tight turn, the counterweighting, the MSF tests you on this figure 8 little box thing that everybody hates. The test exercise for that is you ride into a circle, like a little donut. You ride into this donut and go within the donut counterclockwise. And then you exit the donut and hit another one and ride through that clockwise. And then you exit that donut and hit a stop and a 90-degree turn, like a tight 90-degree turn, where you have to stop, turn your bars in advance before you get moving, counterweight in advance, and then roll on the throttle and off the clutch easy. And then hit this really sharp 90-degree turn. Wow. So, and you don't get tested on the first circle that you did. You only get tested on the second circle and the stop and the turn. And so I was joking when he's like, all right, it's going to be your turn. I was like, well, I'm just riding straight through that circle. Screw it. I'm just going to hit every cone. Since it doesn't count.
The guy's probably
but it does,
this guy is.
it does set you up for the next circle. And I think the way they did that with having you not tested on the first circle, again, took a lot of mental pressure off. You can comfortably go basically you get one last practice shot at riding this tight turn and getting your bike leaned over underneath you and counterweighting before you get tested on it. And you get to kind of like, because honestly, it's sort of, for me anyway, it feels sort of weird right at first, getting into that really kind of weird hanging off the wrong side of the bike position. But then once the bike is in that turn, it settles into feeling comfortable. And so it was good to ride into that first clockwise circle or counterclockwise circle, get the bike over, and then feel good about it. And then ride that whole circle. And then immediately like hop out of that and transition to going the other way. It's just, it feels good. You feel the bike moving really well underneath you. Something that Lee teaches in his curriculum is this phrase, and they make the class say it. Everything you do on the bike is bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And what he means is that the motorcycle can ride better than you can. And that everything you do upsets that motorcycle's ability to make it down the road in a straight line. You do have to make some movements to make it turn and slow down and speed up. But you want those to be as minimally, you want to put as little effort into that as possible. You want to be as smooth and as clean as you can possibly be with all of your motions, so that you're upsetting the bike's ability to ride as little as possible. And thinking about that and thinking about maintaining, and they asked us individually as we finished different exercises, hey, how did you feel tense? Did you feel relaxed? Was your neck tight? Were your arms tight? Were you gripping down on the bars, or were you nice and loose? Because I've heard to stay loose on the bike a bunch, but nobody's really ever asked me about it during a course. And so, they'd have you do an exercise and then go, all right, well, like the circles is actually a really good one. Like how relaxed were you? And looking back on it, I was like, actually, I was pretty tense. And I was like, okay, well, how about instead of like next time you do it, lean your chest down farther so that you're not supporting your weight as much, and really let your arms and shoulders relax and just barely push the bars instead of gripping them. And I went and I did the little circle thing again, and I was able to do it so much more comfortably. It felt much better, and I was faster.
Right.
And it's just back to that whole like phrase, everything you do on the bike is bad. Tensing up, moving around, all that stuff upsets the bike.
Totally relate to that feeling, because I can remember back riding in North Carolina, going to deals and feeling that, like, I'm not a big fan of heights. I got to tell you, even working on a truck company in aerial for as long as I did, I don't like heights. So if I can see that there's like a huge drop off and there's a lot of height, I get super tense and I'm not loose and I'm grabbing the bars and the bike, I feel really uncomfortable. But there were roads like going to deals that same elevation, I'm sure, but you just couldn't tell. There was a lot of wooded areas and you couldn't see the drop off. And I was so much faster through those corners. I never really thought about it like that until now, until you started saying that. But it's funny because when I was out in Colorado, a buddy of mine had told me to go check out Engineers Pass. Well, I Googled it the other day to look at pictures of it, thinking to myself, there's no way I would have went up this thing, because it's like narrow dirt roads. Like you see some of these world's most dangerous roads in China. That's kind of what this thing looked like. And I'm just so not used to riding around heights. It bugs me, really does. But yeah, I can definitely relate to that feeling. The more you talk about it, the more I want to take the class now,
I had really wanted to take it for a long time, and I just hadn't, I hadn't thrown the money at it. And then our like command motorcycle safety rep goes, hey, you're about to expire. You need to take a course. And I honestly at the time didn't think about the fact that my dirt bike school with Gary would have counted. I just would have had to prove that I'd been. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, let's sign me up for something. And so we looked on the schedule, and I noticed they were all the total control courses. I was like, wait, it's not Motorcycle Safety Foundation anymore? Like, no, it's total control.
I knew that Lee got the contract for the state of California. I just never really put two and two together that you had the opportunity. The last time I talked to him, he didn't have any instructors teaching any of his classes in Florida anymore. But MSTA was talking about doing an intermediate class like here or Orlando and bringing somebody in to do it. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. If they make that happen, I'm definitely going to take the intermediate class.
It was fun. It was worth doing. There was a guy and before, so the Navy had separated sport bikes and sport bikes and everyone else, and required sport bikes to take a certain course, and then everybody else could take just the regular experienced rider course from MSF. Well, IRC, the Intermediate Rider Clinic, is not bike specific, and neither is the Advanced Rider Clinic. Lee's courses are, run what you brung. It doesn't matter what kind of bike you ride. And there was a guy in front of me when we did the swerve, who he was the first person, he was first in line, got up there, got to the spot you're supposed to swerve, cranked his bars over, and we all heard as he scraped the crap out of floorboard, crash bar, as he got the bike over. And when he pulled up to the instructor, the instructor goes, "That was really good. I don't think you have to lean it over quite so far."
That's pretty funny.
He's like, I don't usually have to tell people to do it less.
Okay, can we shift gears for a second? Because I just realized something before I forget about it twice in a row.
Okay.
We kind of got called out on the Facebook page by one of our listeners, Ken Blazer, that he said, I guess I waited too long for you guys to mention this, but just in case, and he posted a link to the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride, which is a week away.
Yeah, next Sunday.
September 27th. We have not, usually we talk about this thing ad nauseum until right up till the time we have to go, and we haven't mentioned it at all. So just a little background to tell you, not as an excuse, but this is I believe the only live motorcycle podcast. So we're truly like a motorcycle radio show. We're live. There's no stopping and starting, editing, checking show notes. We start and we talk for however long we talk, and that's it. So, and we don't use, we don't really have a set of show notes that are written down or a script or any kind of schedule. So everything is off the top of our head.
Or a plan. Really, no plan.
Yeah, there's no actual plan behind this.
Just a couple of guys sitting down at microphones and BSing about who knows what.
But once in a while, we'll forget things, and this was like a huge fail because we both usually talk about this a lot. And honestly, we hadn't even talked about it with each other until today. So until this morning, I didn't know if Crash was going or he knew I was going. Just to give you some numbers, I'm looking at the website. So far, there's 23,083 registered riders. They've raised almost $1.3 million so far of a goal of $3 million. But here's a really interesting fact that I just found. So they have a top fundraisers page. And number 4 on the top fundraisers page is a guy we know, Ty Swank from Ronin in the Tampa area. He's number 4 on fundraising. So I got to give a shout out to Ty for that.
Congratulations.
The real interesting thing is Ken posted this and we kind of put on there, we forgot about it. And Ken wrote, I signed up for the Phoenix ride just for a good cause. Then found out 2 weeks ago, I myself have prostate cancer. Now the ride seems even more important.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is it does for us as well. I can tell you that in the department that I came from, 9 guys had prostate cancer. And that's a small department with, not a lot of people on it. So prostate cancer has always been kind of important to me, and this is a good cause. And the truth of the matter is, because I'm still iffy about Sunday on whether or not I'm going to do the whole ride, or I may just ride down to their turning point in Fort Lauderdale. Because for me, it's It's about almost 2 hours to get down to where they start. And then they ride back up to Fort Lauderdale and then back down to Miami. And then so I ride back up here. And last year it was pretty miserable between the rain and the heat, but it is a good cause. Either way, I'm probably going to go to the Turning Point in Fort Lauderdale and shoot some pictures and do some interviews. But yeah, we're sorry we forgot that. Again, definitely, if you've got, it's gentlemansride.com is the website. I'll post a link on the show notes. And I'm going to put something again on Facebook today and on Twitter. That way, if this is last minute and you have a ride in your area, try to make it out. And if not, look and see if you know anybody on a ride and sponsor them. Throw them $5 or $10. It's a very worthy cause. The group that's doing the research is out of Australia, and hopefully they're making some inroads. I just heard recently, and I don't know if any of you are familiar with the way they treat prostate cancer, but most of the guys I know have gone to Orlando to have robotic surgery done. And now they're making inroads with using the radioactive seeds more and more. So there's less chances of damaging nerves when they do the robotic surgery, which can leave you incontinent and a lot of other problems. So good on the guys that do this Gentleman's Ride, and we'll keep supporting it every year. I know, Crash, you're going.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm going. Me and Jess are both going, or we got like matching outfits and everything because we're
like, what kind of outfit?
Well, they're hot dog suits. We're both wearing hot dog suits.
How does that have anything to do with a distinguished gentleman? You mean like hot dog vendor, like from the 1950s, no. Like a soda jerk suit, or you're gonna?
That would be really cool. Actually, that's a good idea. No, so we're just wearing black pants and a white shirt with suspenders and a bow tie.
That's cool.
We have matching bow ties and matching suspenders, and we're going out today to get shirts and a shirt and pants for her. Because as a dude, I own black pants and a white shirt, kind of by default.
Right, you kind of have to. It's part of your dude repertoire.
Yeah, I feel like every man, once he reaches adulthood, should just be handed like, here are the things you need, like a nice pair of shoes, a black pair of pants, a white shirt, or maybe like a relatively simple suit. Like, you're gonna need these at some point. Just keep them.
I don't know about the suit thing though. I don't think I own.
Right, maybe not, like pants and a shirt and a tie at least.
So we've been like blabbing away about the Africa Twin, which we're not going to talk about today because I think we've been beating it up a little bit too much until it comes out. But apparently Honda released something else that's been making.
Honda makes other motorcycles.
Yeah, and
like
this
kind
one
of stuff
is a little pricey actually. The RC213 VS, which is their street legal version of their MotoGP bike, apparently, at $184,000.
Oh wow!
Right,
that's a few bucks. That makes the Modus seem cheap.
And guess how much horsepower it's got now? At $184,000, I'm thinking this thing's kicking out 350, 400 horses. What do you think? What would your guess?
I'm gonna 220.
101.
What?
101.
What?
Stelvio has. I'm gonna race it. It's
how many? Okay, what's the engine size?
It's 101 horsepower. Now I heard today that it's detuned to become street legal. That's a lot of detuning.
Yeah.
The other thing I heard was that it's $16,000 to retune it, to the kit, to make it back to the normal horsepower. And I'm trying to find what it's supposed to have with the kit. But yeah. 101 horsepower for $184,000.
What engine is that though? Like, is it the 800cc? Are they still running 800cc engines?
That's a good question. I didn't really spend a lot of time paying attention to it because I can't afford it.
Because I remember when MotoGP switched from the 990 to the 800.
Right.
And I don't.
So it's got a rev limiter at 9,400 RPMs. The closed circuit kit that Europeans get provides a sought-after 14,000 revs with over 200 horsepower.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like the like detuned as in like we put a rev limiter like halfway up the horsepower curve. Like that's
I'm imagining too that this bike weighs a little bit north of 300 pounds because I know that MotoGP bikes are super light.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a 93 V4.
Yeah. Speaking of light and other things, we were talking about the Scrambler, and I don't remember if we talked about it on air or not, but you were saying that you think it's a lot smaller. You thought it was probably a lot smaller than a Bonneville. I looked it up, and sadly, all the numbers I found on the Bonneville were in metric, and the Scrambler was listed in both. But yes, in basically every dimension, the Scrambler is smaller, and in some ways significantly. I'm curious to get on one, like, because I sat on one and didn't feel cramped, but I didn't sit on it for very long. I'd be curious to ride one and see what I really think of it, because it's definitely, I didn't realize it, but it's way smaller than a Bonneville.
Well, here's the thing: if Ducati's not doing demo rides at AIM, we can conceivably shoot over to Daytona.
Right.
They're doing a demo ride over there because it's only like an hour drive. Just give you some numbers here on. They've got a comparison chart between the RC213V MotoGP prototype and the RC213VS. I'll tell you what, this thing's pretty damn close. Length, height, the weight of the MotoGP bike after racing is 348 pounds. This bike's 379 dry. That's light. Both of them are running a 999cc liquid-cooled V4.
Okay.
You know, they're not showing a lot of specs for bore and stroke on the race bike, but man, I'll tell you what, this thing is pretty close in specs to the MotoGP bike. I just don't know. That's a lot of money, you know? You could buy an airplane for that and a house. You could buy a house for that.
Yeah, in certain places.
Yeah. $184,000 for a motorcycle. We were kind of talking about it this morning, and I'm like, I wonder if one of them's going to show up here. More than likely, we'll probably see one at Club Shell because of the money that's in Palm Beach County. Some knucklehead will go buy one of these and bring it to Club Shell. If that happens, I'll be there with camera and recorder.
Yeah. And like, can I please ride it?
I doubt that would happen. So
yeah.
the things you get with this, they've got a list of options that you get on this bike that the other bike doesn't have. Horn, start key, self-starter, side stand, license plate lamps. So, you know, maybe they just built some race bikes and detuned them, but that's incredible.
That is.
I don't think you could
significantly
buy this bike without having the European kit. It wouldn't make any sense.
It really wouldn't. Like, maybe they did that on purpose, but
I don't know, tack another $16,000 onto the price. So you're at
to get the one with 100 horsepower. Sure, it's only a little more than 300 pounds, but like my Bonneville has like 60. Little air cooled.
It's got 100 horsepower.
Yeah. My Speed Triple had more than that.
Speaking of Honda, I saw a CB1000R this morning too for the first time out in the public. That's a cool little bike. The only thing I don't like about it's the headlight. That's just a styling thing for me. It looks like a fire department SCBA mask or a gas mask. It's kind of because it's got this one round goofy thing on the front that looks like a mouth. But other than that, it's a neat looking bike, and the guy had it in a flat color with a matching flat, like a kind of flat gold, you know, and bronze, and he had a matching Arai helmet. But it's a neat looking little bike. He had some short little stubby aftermarket pipes on there, but it sounded really stock because the cat was still on it. But that's the first time I've seen that. Hopefully we're going to also get some news from Royal Enfield USA about the possibility of new bikes. I'm hoping at AIM that they're there and have some new bikes for the U.S. market. I've been hearing some rumors about this, so that'd be cool too. I still like that Continental GT, even after riding one that was really buzzy. That would be a neat bike to have, I think. I'm going to see if there's anything else interesting here about this Honda, but yeah, $184,000. I saw it. Speaking of airplanes, there was something on like Good Morning America yesterday about a company called Icon, and not the Icon motorcycle company.
Yeah, they make the A1.
They make an A5 now. Have you seen that?
No.
The A5 it's really cool. It's folding wings. It's a little amphibian. It's an LSA.
Oh yeah, okay. This is the same aircraft I was thinking of. Maybe it is the A5.
Yeah.
But yes, I've seen this. It's a little push prop. Like, yeah, that thing's cool.
This is like a sport bike, of planes. So, and it's got a parachute, and it's got all this neat stuff on it and all these options. And I'm texting a buddy of mine last night, like, this is really cool, and he goes, yeah, it's got like a 448-pound weight capacity if you have the parachute on board. That's including everything, fuel, passengers, and luggage. So
yeah.
It's like, have fun riding around by yourself. That's it.
Pretty much. Yeah. It's cool looking, and it looks like a heck of a lot of fun if you fly. And yeah, the parachute, it for listeners, it has a parachute for the aircraft. So if things go to crap, you can deploy the parachute.
The other really cool thing about it, there's a video on their website. The plane's design, it's completely spin resistant. So on the video, they show like it flying side by side with a Cessna 172, and they stall both aircraft, and the Cessna goes into a spin, and this thing just kind of like shudders and kind of like floats descending. It's spin resistant. It's pretty neat. So just that design technology alone, if that transfers into other how did we get off into aircraft? Did I do this?
I don't. Yeah, but
anyway.
Yeah, I've been eyeballing this particular aircraft for a while. I love that you can throw it on a trailer and just drive it around.
That's really cool. Yeah, I guess that's what LSAs really were supposed to be. The common man's aircraft. You didn't have to worry about a hangar or anything like that. You could just put it in your garage, pull it out, snap on the wings, and go flying. Yeah,
full glass cockpit, like extremely modern. Essentially, like in a lot of ways, it's an iPad on your, on your dash.
Super neat. All right, buddy. You guys got to go clothes shop, and I got to go shopping with the wife, and
all right,
save everything for next time. But get out there, Distinguished Gentleman's Ride. I'll post links on Facebook tonight. Not wait to get the show out, but like I said, if you can't make it, support somebody or support a team. There's a lot of teams on there too, so check out a cool team and throw them $5 or something.
I'm on there, registered. Cafe Racer X.
I'm registered under my name for the Miami ride, and I'll probably throw some money over on Ty to keep him going. But yeah, that was cool. Anyway, that's all I got, buddy.
Yeah, me too. Get out and ride.
See you guys.